Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Crimes Notes. We are up to topic 2.4, solving equations with variables on both sides. What you've already done is solving one step, two step, and multi-step, but there was only variables on one side of the equation. The equations that we're going to look at today actually have variables on both sides. So again, as usual, these three questions at the top are for you to do on your own. Those are review questions, so you should be able to do that. Okay? Then we get down to what is the goal for solving equations. We have done this every set of notes. Remember, the goal for solving equations is to get the variable by itself. Or isolate the variable, I guess is what I sometimes put. And then how do we solve equations? In other words, how do we get the variable by itself? You use inverse operations, meaning opposite. So if we're looking, okay, the steps are still the same. So as we're going through these, nothing has really changed. Okay, we're still going to draw the line first. Once we've drawn the line, we're going to distribute. And that's to remove parentheses or any other grouping symbols. Then we're going to combine like terms side separately. Meaning you're going to look at the left side and see if anything goes together, look at the right side and see if anything goes together. Then we're going to use addition or subtraction. To get the variable isolated on the left. Now it could be on the right, it really doesn't matter. Basically, in fact, let's put this. Number 4 and number 5 are still combining like terms, but we're doing it across the equal sign. Okay, and then our last step will be to use multiplication or division. Most of the time, it's going to be division. To solve for the variable. All right, so let me fold my paper so that you guys can see the problems that we're about to do. All right, so let's look at number 1. The first step is to draw the line down the equal sign. What this does is it divides the problem for you so you can kind of see where everything is. Step 2 would be to distribute to remove parentheses, but we don't have any. Step 3 would be to combine like terms side separately. So I look over here, but these two don't go together. I look on the right-hand side, these two are not like terms, because remember, like terms have to have the same variable with the same exponent. Okay? So then I lost my count. Where are we at? Step 4 is to use addition and subtraction to get the variable isolated on the left. So remember, we're still just trying to combine like terms. So if I were, let me grab some colors here. I got an idea. To use colors, we know this and this are like terms because they both have the variable k. And we know that this and this are both constants, and so they would go together. So our goal is to get the oranges on one side and all the blues on the other side. So to do this, we're going to do addition or subtraction, okay? So we know our first step is generally to move this over here. And we're going to start that way. So if this was a minus 3, the opposite would be, or the inverse would be to add 3. So now negative 3 plus 3, those would cancel out. I'm going to bring my 6k down. I'm going to bring the 2k down because I didn't do anything with it. And then 13 plus 3 is 16. Then we would still have these two orange ones that would need to go together. So this one and this one. Those are still like terms that haven't been combined. So now we're going to move this one over here. Now the reason I'm moving this one is because I don't want to switch this one. If I move the 6 over here, then I won't have anything left on this side of the equation. So this is a positive 2k because there's not a sign, so I would do minus 2k minus 2k. These two would cancel. I would bring this down so I have my 16. And then I would perform this. 6 minus 2 is 4k. Well, now this should look pretty familiar. Okay? I've got side by side, which means multiplied, so 4 times k. So the inverse operation would be to divide. So I would divide by 4 and divide by 4. So then this would cancel out and I would have k equals 4 as my solution. Good. So using those steps, I want you to try to do number 2 on your own. Again, if you want to start by moving the variables first, you can. You don't have to start with the numbers, and sometimes moving the variables first is easier. All right, so now let's look at number 3. Number 3, we're still going to start by drawing the line. Then our next step after we draw the line is to distribute to remove parentheses, but we don't have any. Step 3 is to combine like terms side separately. So I look at this side. 8c and 1 are not like terms, so they don't go together. Okay. So then we look at this side, and we do have some like terms. Okay, I've got 7c minus 2c. So I could put those together. And then I have this minus 14 by itself. So I didn't do anything on this side, so I'm just going to bring it down, 8c plus 1. But over here, I'm doing 7c minus 2c. And if you need to do your groups off to the side, you can, or on a scratch paper. But 7 minus 2 is 5c. And then I would have this minus 14. Now, this problem looks much like number 1 that we just did before. So again, I'm going to go ahead and highlight these because these are my like terms still. And of course up here this was also still a like term, but we were only doing the sides separately. Then I would do these, okay? And now here's the difference. In fact, we're going to put this in the notes to self. If they're on the same side, you just combine. So same side, just combine. If they're opposite side, so like they are right now, opposite side means opposite operations. So since these are on the opposite sides and we're going to combine them, the 5c is positive, so I'm going to do minus 5c, minus 5c. And again, in general, I try to move the variable to the left, but it's not required. 8 minus 5 would give you 3c. I would bring down the plus 1 because I didn't do anything with it. These two canceled. I would bring down that negative 14. From here, it should look like a normal two-step problem. So I would say minus 1, because again, these are my like terms. I've got this one and this one. So those are the two I'm trying to put together. So these would cancel. I would get 3c equals negative 14 minus 1 would be negative 15. This is multiplication because they're side by side, which means to multiply. So divide by 3, divide by 3. These cancel, and my answer is c equals negative 5. Good. All right, number 4, I'm going to kind of walk you through some of it, and then I'm going to have you kind of work it out on your own. So number 4, we start by drawing the line. Once I've drawn the line, I'm supposed to distribute to remove parentheses. Well, this time I do have parentheses. So I'm going to bring the 8 down. But this is the number in front of the parentheses. So I've got to distribute. So this times this. So -2 times t. That's -2 times 1t. So that's -2t. And then I have to do -2 times +1, which would be -2. And then on this side, there are no parentheses, so I'm just going to bring it down just like before. So now I'm going to go ahead and highlight my like terms. I'm going to try to be consistent, so I'm going to do my variables in orange and my constants in blue. So if you notice, I do have a couple of blues on the same side, so we would need to go ahead and combine those. So 8 minus 2, same side. Remember, we're just going to combine. We're not changing signs. We're not doing anything. So 8 minus 2 is going to give me 6. So I'm going to bring the -2t down. This would be plus 6. And then equals, this side we didn't do anything to. So -3t plus 1. So now I still have those like terms. So this and this need to go together, but they're on opposite sides. This and this need to go together, and they're on opposite sides. So from there, I want you guys to solve that one on your own. All right, a couple of more at the bottom. Fold my paper again. Okay, number 5. Again, I'm going to start it, but then I'm going to have you finish it. So I'm going to draw the line. We've got parentheses on both sides this time, so I'm going to bring the 5 down. Then I'm distributing a +2. So 2 times g would be +2g. 2 times +4 would be +8. And then I have parentheses on this side as well, so I'm going to distribute the 5. So 5 times 1g is 5g. 5 times -3, don't lose these signs, is -15. And then you have plus 10, because I just bring this down. So I'm going to highlight your like terms, and then I want you to see if you can work this one the rest of the way. And then the last one, number 6. The big thing about this one is that you guys see fractions. So if I draw the line and I go to combine like terms, we notice there's nothing that goes together on this side. There's nothing that would go together on this side. But a lot of us don't like to see fractions. So over here, to remove fractions, if you don't want to deal with them, okay, then we're going to multiply everything. So everything you see by the denominator. So if you notice, both of these fractions have a 5, so we're only going to have to multiply once. So if I multiply this times 5, and this times 5, and this term times 5, and this term times 5, then we can get all the fractions to go away. So if I use a calculator, control divide, 2 over 5 times 5. That's that first one, right? I get 2n. Then this is -9 times 5. So I would have -45. Then 7 times 5 would be 35. And then I have, negative, I forgot, so negative 3 over 5. And then times 5. And I get minus 3n. So from here, it's a normal problem just like we did on number 1 and number 2. So I want you to actually go through and finish that one as well. Remember, if you have any questions, I am in here to help you.